10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. Good morning to the men outside who have decided to start cutting pavement literally 30 seconds before I go live. So I might get a little bit distracted in this one. But how are we all doing? It's Thursday? Wednesday? It's Thursday. And we're here to have a serious discussion this morning after some major developing news coming out of Manchester United about Mauricio Pochettino, the man who we can't seem to get rid of when it comes to being linked with the Manchester United job. And yeah, he's not the first choice on my list. He may have been in 2016. He may have been, probably in 2018 as well. But is he now? That's what we're going to discuss this morning after reports. And when it comes to covering reports, following the stories, there always comes a time when all the papers at once. So we're looking at the Telegraph today, the Daily Mail, ESPN, and Manchester Evening News, all reporting the same thing at the same time, that Mauricio Pochettino is wanted by Manchester United and wanted by Manchester United's players, which is confusing the hell out of me. Who gives a crap what the players want? Seriously, who gives a crap? We're going to discuss it all this morning. I can see there's plenty of members down here. Something I've started doing this week, I've switched the chat on YouTube to subscribers only. And the reason I'm doing that is because as the channel grows and the comments start getting bigger and louder, I always read the comments. I always try and interact with the comments. If there's so many comments flying in, I can't always read all the community's comments out. That's why I do it. So this isn't a way to get rid of people. This is a way to bring you closer to the community. If you want to be part of United People's TV, subscribe. Otherwise, you can sit on the side and watch. But take off. You're there this morning. T, Simon, Peter, Rebecca, good morning to you. Who else you got there? We've got Lias, we got Paul, we got Sam Rawlinson, Pete, there's tons of you. Absolutely good morning to all of you. This really is going to be a very, very important discussion we've had this morning. Like yesterday, I didn't expect it to, I suppose, do as well as it did, but I did a sort of an opinion piece on Harry Maguire. I didn't go with the huge, Maguire's an idiot. This huge, like, he's a shit, left, right. Look, Maguire, I will stand by this as a good defender. Is he a good defender inside this Manchester United team? No, he is not. Should he be Manchester United captain? No, he should not. And that's why I did that video yesterday on the Harry Maguire situation. If you want to check that out, that's on the channel. But we're here this morning, right, to talk about Poch. And more specifically, to have, for me anyway, to have a little bit of a rant about the idea that the players can decide who comes in as our next manager. It's madness. Let me run through the story with you first. You keep firing in your comments, your opinions on this whole situation, and then we'll discuss it. But look, let's head straight to it. Let's go to the Telegraph and let's go to James Ducker. And this is the leading story. The Manchester United's players want Mauricio Pochettino as their next manager. Let's go through and let's read the story together. Poch is the preferred choice of a growing number of Man United players to become the club's next manager. We scroll down here. Sources in France expect Poch to part company with PSG at the end of the season, and there have been claims he could leave if they get knocked out of Champions League. 100%, if they get knocked out of Champions League, Poch is going to get sacked. I think that's an absolute given, isn't it? Well, I think it is anyway. Maybe you disagree, but I think it's an absolute given he's going to get sacked. We scroll down here. The situation could come to a head before then, and in the case of Poch, United may have to move quickly, regardless, given rival interest from Real Madrid. United have missed out on managers in the past after being slow to react. And we scroll down here, and this is the crux of the story here. Pochettino's man management skills, his hands-on expertise on the training ground, his track record of developing players, style of play, and Premier League experience are understood to be currying him real favour among notable parts of the United squad. I, for the life of me, can't understand why this is even a thing. Seriously, who gives a crap what those players want? Those players have had what they've wanted for so long. And I can feel us getting into a bit of a civil war here. Because if you scroll down inside this article, and again, this has been reported by everybody, right? And it's this. Let's scroll down a bit further. Rangnick of admiration strengthens the Ten Hag case. And again, I'm going to show you this is being reported everywhere, not just in the Telegraph. Erik Ten Hag's credentials are also likely to feature prominently in the conversation, and Rangnick, who is in line to take on a consultancy role, is understood to be a big admirer of his work and the work he's done over the last 4 years as Ajax coach. So it might be a situation here, ladies and gents, right? I hope it's not, but there might be a situation here where we've got Ralf Rangnick and the fans all supporting the idea of Erik Ten Hag and how he can take Manchester United forward, while on the other hand, you've got Manchester United's board and a lot of Manchester United's players who want to have Pochettino. And we all know who's going to win that argument. And it won't be us and it won't be Rangnick. Because when it comes to Pochettino, I've said this before. And look, I feel so strongly about this. I'm going to be doing a video straight after this, like I did yesterday with the Maguire situation. I'm going to give my sort of opinion on it and why Manchester United simply cannot make this mistake. But Pochettino, if you go into Manchester United's ballroom, I mean, hypothetically, of course, go into Man United's ballroom, there's a big chest of drawers. You can just open that drawer, dust off the Pochettino folder from 2016. All the information is already there. There's a folder underneath it. You can dust that one off too from 2018. There's so much Poch research at the club that the club might be all of a sudden transfixed, obsessed, tunnel vision on Poch simply because they didn't get him before. And now they want to get him now, even though it's late. The comparison I like to draw between Poch and Manchester United is a bit like when Mayweather finally fought Pacquiao. I mean, it happened, but it was like 4 years too late. The show-stopping Hollywood fight that it could have been, it wasn't, because Pacquiao wasn't the fighter he was by the time he faced Mayweather. It's the same situation as if we get Poch now. If we got Poch in 2016, 5 years ago, wow. Could have been incredible. Could have been amazing. We could be a very different Manchester United. And maybe the same thing could be said if he came in instead of Solskjaer. But he didn't. And to get him in now would just be years late. Gungshi, thank you very much for your continued support, my friend. Hope you and Smoke are all right. Great piece on Maguire, Sam. As for Poch, I think he's a decent manager, but I'd rather get Ten Hag in. Screw what the players want. That should not be a factor. It absolutely should not be a factor, my friend. It shouldn't even be slightly considered as a swaying reason why Poch should come in over Ten Hag. My God, I swear on my life, they are literally outside that window. That's just rude. Come on, people. You know, United People's TV, we're live here. You can delay all that stuff. T, what are you saying here, buddy? Nice to see you down there. Thanks for your chip chat. I hope you're going to get your shirt soon, by the way. That's posted out to Oz, but sod knows when that's going to come. Players get paid to do a job regardless of who's in charge, says T. Player power is bullshit. And the board needs to wake up and stop encouraging it. It makes it worse. I mean, it does make it worse. It absolutely makes it worse. Now, Nick, you're saying that I'm not saying that Poch is crap. I just prefer Ten Hag. I don't know whether you're talking about me or not, or whether someone in the comments, but it's exactly that. And that's something I'm absolutely going to reiterate when I do my video later today. Obviously, I enjoy these interactive streams that we do, but I understand and appreciate that not everybody's got 50 minutes in the morning to listen to me waffle. So that's why I like doing the short videos and mixing and matching. It's not just all about live streams. You've got to have a different variety of content for different people doing different things. Pochettino, I've said this before, am I going to be upset if he comes in? Absolutely not. If he came in, he'd be the best managerial appointment that we've had post-Fergie. But is he the right one right now? Is there a better one available? Yes, there is. I've told you, like, Pochettino would be good, but Ten Hag would be better suited for what we need and where we need to go. And more the fact that, as I said, man, Pochettino is just like dusting off an old folder and saying, yeah, man, we were going to do it then. And we were going to do it in 2016. We were going to do it in 2018. So let's do it now because we can finally do it now. It's just, it seems like a little bit too little too late. And the idea, right, even the notion that the players want Poch over Ten Hag, just shut up, man. I genuinely do not care what you want. For the life of me, I do not care what any single one of those Manchester United players wants in terms of the next manager. It shouldn't even be. If your boss gets sacked at work, do you go around with like holding up two boards to the office and then going, oh, which one's going to get the biggest cheer for the new boss? Oh, no, you don't. You don't ask the employees. You just get a new boss in. The employees, and that's what Football players are employees of their football clubs. Of course, we've got a far closer connection to them. Well, we like to think we do because we're fans, X, Y, Z. And maybe it's slightly different, but ultimately they're not. They're employees of their football club. And if the boss gets sacked, another boss comes in. And the employees do not have anything to do with it. You just go and meet your new boss, you shake his hand, and you try and impress him. That's just the way it goes. That is what business is. And the idea that they have any sort of influence in this decision, genuinely, it blows my mind. That blows my mind. Rebecca, you're agreeing there, saying players should not get a say in who the next manager is? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Gary, what you're saying here, dust off that 2016 folder. He hasn't won anything to add to it since then anyway. Now, Poch, I'll be honest, whether it's Poch or whether it's Ten Hag, neither of those managers are going to be brought to Manchester United because of what silverware they've got in their trophy cabinet. Pochettino has obviously won the French League Cup, I believe, and the French Super Cup, and that's all he's won so far as a manager. And Erik Ten Hag, of course, got to the Champions League semi-final, but Poch got to the final. And Ten Hag has obviously won 3 Eredivisie titles, I think, 2 or 3. But the Eredivisie title is not going to be the measure of whether a Manchester United manager is going to be good or not, is it? So ultimately, silverware is kind of an irrelevant conversation when it comes to Ten Hag or Poch. It's more getting, as I said, Poch now would be an okay appointment. Poch 5-6 years ago would have been the appointment that everybody would have gone, shit, United have got Poch. And I've just firmly, there's something in my gut that's telling me that is what Erik Ten Hag is right now. And there's something in my gut that's telling me that if we don't go and get Ten Hag, he'll be Man City manager within the next 2 to 3 years. And we're just going to have to sit and watch that again. Paul Badrett, what are you saying there, buddy? You're saying, I don't think the player should have their say, but respects who comes in and works hard for the badge. I mean, it's simple when you do it like that. And Simon, you're saying it's utter madness. It is utter madness. Christensen, I think you sent a super chat here, my friend, but there's nothing there, so I can't read that out. So if you just send a normal comment, I'll try and read that out, my friend. I just called you my friend twice. I don't know why I did that. Sanjay said, you're saying, Sam, I think the board needs to stop the player power as Fergie told anybody that no player should be greater than the club. Of course, that is the case. And we know that's the case. And we know that has not been the case since Fergie left. Bit by bit, day by day, the players have gained more power at Manchester United. And it's created that's the culture. That's the culture we're in right now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in and tried to do his cultural rebuild, and it worked to a certain degree, but it didn't. But it ended up failing at the end because of his deficiencies as a manager. We know that his flaws as a manager, but also because that player power. I think he underestimated that player power at Manchester United. I think he massively underestimated it. Jonathan, you're saying you're getting too excited by some press reports. So the players want Poch, but pretty sure they already knew they wanted him. It's the media driving a wedge between the players and management. Poch is a Glazer-safe option. They won't listen to Ralf on that one. This is why he will walk before his 2 years is up. As I said, Jonathan, there's no smoke without fire. And when it comes to the Telegraph, the Daily Mail, ESPN, Manchester Evening News, everybody reporting something at the same time, it's going to be a hell of a source that's telling them that. It's going to be someone very high up. And they've all coming out at the same time. As I said, there's no smoke without fire. This is not an individual journalist reporting it. It's not an individual outlet reporting it. It's everybody at the same time. And I as this has been my job for that long, I suppose, looking on the outside looking in, it's when leaks like this happen all at the same time that there's something significant that happens. There's something significant that's going on. And that's this situation here. But yeah, that bit there, what's your take on this one, on this bit, ladies and gents there? I got a bit distracted. It's the idea that Ralf would want Ten Hag, and the fans, I'm not saying every single fan, I would say the majority of the fans would want Ten Hag, but the board wouldn't. You'd be like, well, what's the point in getting Ralf in as a consultant if you're not going to let him consult you? The idea of getting a consultant is because you consider yourself to have a weakness in one area, and you go and get a specialist inside that area to help you with advice. That's what a consultant does. Of course, you can ignore your consultant, but what is the point in paying your consultant if you're just going to ignore him? It feels like we might be getting towards that situation. And I came here with such huge positivity 2 days ago, and look at me now. You'd be like, well, Sam, I proved you right. Maybe you did prove me right, but hell, I'm going to still try and be positive. Or what you're saying here, buddy. The club will be here after the players leave. If it means we upset some of them, what's best for the club? It's the only option going forward. And it is the only option going forward, man. The only option going forward should be what is in Manchester United's best interests. And that is the only agenda I will ever have on this channel. Because we've had quite a lot of discussions about agendas and how I think the term is overused and incorrectly used quite a lot of the time. I have an agenda. My agenda is I want what is best for Manchester United Football Club. If I'm looking at a 5-year plan and I'm thinking what is best for the club, I think Erik ten Hag is best for the club. Sure, Mauricio Pochettino might be best for some of those players. He's got the Premier League experience. You could argue there are fairly a good amount of reasons why you could say that Pochettino would be a good manager at Manchester United. And I do think he would be a good manager at Manchester United. I'm not here saying that he would be an abysmal appointment, because he wouldn't be. But you could just make a better one. And that's the difference here. And for Manchester United we've always taken the sidestep, or we've always taken the second choice. Let's go out there. Let's take a leap forward. Let's take a step slightly into the unknown. It'll be a bit more slightly a risk with Ten Hag, but it's a forward-thinking risk and it's a progressive risk. And Manchester United as a club just haven't progressed. We've reacted instead of being proactive. That's where the difference in opinion will lie with Ten Hag and with Poch. Poch is a bit of a safer bet. Poch is a bit of he's worked inside a club with a bad structure before. He's worked inside the Premier League before. And as I said, there are a lot of reasons. I could do an entire video about why Poch would be a good manager for Manchester United. But it doesn't mean that I want him, because I think there'll be a better option available. Someone who really can take this club forward. I'm not asking someone to come in and take this club sideways, because sideways isn't where we want to be. And for me, Ten Hag is more likely to do that. Simple that. Omar, you're laughing at me for saying Poch is a safer bet. Poch would be a safer bet than Ten Hag for the reasons I've just listed there. Let me go up here and see what you're saying. George, you're saying sick to death of these players not in charge. They should concentrate on playing better on the pitch. These players just think they are better than they are. I do think there's a massive heightened sense of self-importance that exists inside this Manchester United. So it probably exists inside the Premier League. A ton, because of the money that players are on and younger players are on. They think they've made it. They've made it as soon as they got that contract, where in reality, they're on the first step of the ladder. And not every. That's why it's so tough for youth players to break through into the Premier League. Not only break through, but sustain themselves and sustain that growth. Because when you're on, like, mate, I can't even imagine it, like 50 grand a week as a teenager. Imagine that 50 grand a week. If I'd done a grand a week as a teenager, I would have drank myself into oblivion. But 50 grand a week as a teenager, I can't understand and appreciate the psychological changes that will do to you, but I guarantee you it will do something to you and how important you feel you are. That's why it's so difficult inside this environment. Let me go down here. Maurizio Glazatino says, Ant, more yes man than Jim Carrey. Like, you're firing him out. Dad jokes galore down there from Ant this morning. Jeez, calm down there, Ant. Don't use them all at once. You've got a party this weekend. Well, you might do. I don't know. But, of course, Poch would be somebody that the Glazers would get along with more than Ten Hag as well. Yes, I don't think you're wrong there. As he showed for years at Spurs, he went an entire season without signing. Spurs didn't sign anybody in a summer where everybody was strengthening, and Poch still had that team playing good football. And had Spurs backed their manager, Spurs would have won the league. I absolutely stand by that, right? I absolutely stand by that. They didn't, and obviously it all fell apart for Poch. What's happened since? He had like a 13-month break, I think, and he's gone to PSG. Has he done anything there? Let's find out in the Real Madrid game. That's going to be the acid test. We know that. They're like, what, 12, 13, 14 points clear at the top of Liga? It's all about Poch. It's all about Champions League with PSG. Jonathan, what are you saying here, sir? You're coming in with the big comments this morning here, taking up all the screen. Everyone's being sucked in by the fact they're reporting the players want Poch. They're allowed to have an opinion, and I really very much doubt whether the Glazers, Murto, and Arnold are listening to the players. I would disagree with you on that one. For all we know, Ralf has not got that involved in this process. It would have been discussed before Ralf arrived. As I said, if everybody's reporting that, there's no smoke without fire. And you could say, Sam, it's just going to be what? It's going to be one hell of a source for all of these outlets to report it at the same time. We're talking high up source, high level. Maybe it's Ed Woodward stirring the pot. I don't know. Maybe not. But look, as I said, it's not only them reporting it. We scroll over here. We go to Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. Man United's players want Poch to take over as the club's new manager. We scroll down. United's players are in favour of Poch, and the majority of Manchester United's squad would prefer Poch, who expressed the willingness to quit PSG and will return to English football at Old Trafford. We go over here and we look at ESPN and their massive advert. Very nice. Man United players want Poch as the next manager. We scroll down. United's players are keen on Poch becoming the next permanent manager. There is a growing clamour from within the dressing room for Poch to get the nod. We scroll down here. Sources have told ESPN that a number of senior players believe the former Spurs boss is the right man for this job, and his potential appointment has been openly discussed. Now, I'm not here saying that the players are going to completely influence who comes in next, but let me reiterate, they should have zero influence. I should have as much influence as those players on who becomes our next manager. Simply put, they should have, these shouldn't be stories. It shouldn't be reports. It does not matter what one of those players wants as our next manager. And I reiterate that. Ronaldo, De Gea, any single player, I do not give a crap. And the club should not give a crap what any of those players wants, because the club has given a crap about what those players want for a long, long time. And look where we are. And look where we've fallen. And look how we're clamoring, trying to get back to where we are. And we can't, because the players have taken they're upstairs. They're enjoying themselves. So, John, I understand what you're saying, that they're not saying the squad will decide. I don't care. The squad should not have 1%. Oh dear, why is my battery? For goodness sake. Why is that not charging? People, it's happened again. This stupid fucking thing. Today is the day, eh? Today is the day where it all goes wrong here on United People's TV again here. Plugging that in. Everything's plugged in. Is that charging now? Come on, baby. Battery's not charging. What do you know? Look, it makes no sense. It makes no sense, people. It's not my fault. I swear on my life. This has happened twice now. I swear, why does this keep happening to me? You've got the guys outside doing the bloody roadworks. I don't know. Sam, you sent a super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. It's all chaos this morning. That's what it feels like. Fergie, as a manager, was a very special time, and I think we need to realize it will probably never be that good again. I understand there's a bad culture, but it may also be pressure to reach those highs. Sam, it's a cliche thing to say, but you know what they say sometimes? Was it aim for the moon and you reach the stars sort of thing? No United fan is expecting us to get back to where we were with Fergie. That was an anomaly. That was an unrepeatable process that happened with Manchester United, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't aim towards it, and that's what United have to aim towards. And with how competitive the Premier League is, you have to raise your expectations to there. Otherwise, you'll never get there. It's what happens with Manchester United. Ladies and gents, seriously. Oh, battery. What's going on here? Is it saying it's charged? I mean, I swear to God, this is a new computer. This is a new charger. This is new everything, right? I'm not downloading anything. It's been plugged in. Let's see. It might work. It might carry on. I'm just going to speak really quietly so I don't annoy the charger, all right? McTominay out in the comments. How about Sam out? How about Sam get a new charger? Jeez. Yash, Sam downloading tactics for our club. Jeez, yeah, no wonder it is file corrupt. Look, maybe it'll carry on, maybe it'll work, but for some reason, it's just trying to tell me that it's not charging, even though it has charging. Sam, by the way, I appreciate your comment there. It was a good talking point to raise. But yeah, I understand that Fergie comparison. You're saying maybe that sort of pressure of trying to get us back towards those days. But look, that's why it took Liverpool 30 bloody years to win their first English league title. That's why it took them so long. Right? And that's what Manchester United are heading towards. We all laughed at Liverpool and everybody who said, United are gone now. Now that Fergie's gone, Toodle Pip, won't see you for a while. And we all said, that's not the case, man. We'll be back. We'll definitely be back. But Manchester United have to get this decision here. We're at a serious crossroads. And I know we've spoken about this before, right? But I firmly believe this summer, this appointment, this decision is where United really, as a football club, properly turn that ship around or we're just heading for the iceberg. That's what we're doing right now. We're full steam ahead, and we either turn that ship or we go straight into that iceberg if we don't make the right decision this summer. We're in a position now where we've got rid of Ed Woodward, step one. Richard Arnold, we'll have a conversation about him. By the way, maybe I'll be able to speak to Richard Arnold. Little teaser there. Let me see if I can get something sorted. But you've got that ship heading still in the wrong direction. But you've now got Ralf Rangnick, who's come on board as a captain. He's been in these waters before. He knows these waters. He knows how to take clubs from where they are to where they want to be. Let him be the captain behind the scenes. It's easy. You put him down. Look, John Murtough, we keep speaking about John Murtough, right? And the idea that he's coming in and, oh, look at that. The battery's charging. Battery's charging. Look, seriously, like, it's not my fault. I swear on my life. But the battery's charging now. So let's have a little celebration there. Come on. Stream continues. We live to fight another day. Look, don't say you don't get drama here on United People's TV. But anyway, back to the conversation. I was liking my analogy there about the ship and Rangnick. Yeah, Rangnick's there, and if we listen to him, he can steer us in the right direction. But if we don't, if we've got the old captain who was there when the ship was first built and he knows more, that's Richard Arnold and the board, then they're just going to steer us towards the wrong direction. And that's what I truly, truly feel about this summer and Manchester United. I feel like we've finally got a chance to actually truly modernise. And if we do it right, I think United can go on the up again. Peter saying, Sam, are you drunk? No, I've just had a haircut and I'm feeling fresh. I'm not drunk. I was just a bit excited now that my laptop's charging. And if I was drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning, question marks about me. Dave, what are you saying here, sir? How can the players say we want Poch when they are the reason that we are shit? You are preaching to the choir there, my friend. And yeah, Dave, as I reiterated earlier to a couple of the comments, the players should have absolutely, and I mean zero input in who this next manager is. It's not your position, lads. You are simply employees of this football club. When your contract is terminated and you are sold, you will not be an employee of this football club. You will go and be an employee of another football club. You are simply an employee. And an employee of a business does not decide or have any influence on who that next manager is. Now, you might disagree with that and say, Sam, of course they do. Like the most influential members of any team, not just any team, of any business, if they say that this person might be right or this person might be wrong, then the powers that be at the board might start listening. Maybe. But I don't think that should be the case. And if that is the case, that's called weak management. Management shouldn't need to listen to their employees when it comes to making decisions. If they do, they can't make that decision themselves. Therefore, they shouldn't be managers. They shouldn't be in management. Management is extremely tough, okay? Having run all my own stuff for the last 7 or 8, 9, 10 years, having to fire people. Firing people is the worst thing in the entire world, especially when you don't want to do it, and it's only financial reasons that are making you do it. Management is difficult to get correct. And the idea of being a manager is you're going to piss people off sometimes to make the right decision for your business or your club. And that's what United got to do, man. It might piss quite a few of these players off if we don't get Poch in. But you know what? I don't care. Because you pissed me off enough over the last 8, 9 years. That who cares how many players are made angry if Ten Hag comes in instead of Poch? None of us should care. Not even one iota. Eugene, Sam, to use another ship analogy, United are the Titanic and our ship is destined for the bottom. You're coming in with a nice, chirpy, happy comment there, my friend. Good song, though. Got to give that to Celine Dion. Don't know what that's got to do with it. Sam, another comment here from you, my friend, saying, completely agree with you, but I guess it feels that some fans focus too much on dissing everyone rather than realizing that this does happen to clubs because they're stuck in 2010 rather than looking forward. Of course it does. And Sam, what you're touching on there is exactly what Fergie always said and maintained, and which is what Ed Woodward went against. And that's that football works in cycles. And we all know that football works in cycles. Manchester United's dominance was an unprecedented circle, a circle that won't be repeated again. But when it comes to success, you're gonna have peaks, you're gonna have troughs. Unfortunately for United, it's been a trough that swung into another trough, and that's the problem. That the trough's never been followed by the peak, if you know what I mean. So United's cycle of success, we've never properly just kept going up that, have we? We've always gone 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 4 steps forward, 9 steps back. That's what Manchester United have been doing. What Manchester United need to switch now is doing that. That's why this idea of, in my opinion, starting with Ten Hag, and that can be it feels almost revolutionary. The idea that Ten Hag would come in, that Ralf would move in to work in a sporting director role. That's kind of what I think it would be, right? I think I've said this to you before, but in my mind, the idea of Ralf Rangnick going upstairs into a consultancy position, I think it wouldn't just be a consultancy position. It wouldn't be called a consultant. I think it would get formalized into something a bit more than that. And I think it would get formalized into a sporting director. So that would leave John Murtough to be the director of football, the person who is in charge, I suppose, of transfers, of looking at overall signings, X, Y, Z. What the sporting director does, and this is what Ralf Rangnick has done incredibly well in his. If you're looking at the biggest success that Rangnick has had, it's there as a sporting director. Not just as a sporting director, but one of his biggest achievements. He was a sporting director of Red Bull, both of Salzburg and of Leipzig. So he was the overarching philosopher, if you want to call it that. He was the architect who made sure that every decision by the football director, every decision by the manager, every decision by the club, all tied into an overall sporting vision for Manchester United. Not just football vision, but sporting vision. And maybe that'll be a little bit different at Manchester United, given, of course, that we are only one club. But you need that person who can remove themselves from the situation. And Rangnick just strikes me as the man that can do that. Ray Bird saying, huge news from who exactly? Poch's agent. Does Poch even have an agent? I suppose Poch does have an agent. But Ray, as I said, look, there comes a time when stories like this, when they get reported, they all get reported at once from multiple sources. And this is one of those moments. From The Telegraph, from James Ducker, Daily Mail from Chris Wheeler, Rob Dawson from ESPN, Samuel Luckhurst from Manchester Evening News, all of them reporting the same thing at the same time. Not only that the players want Poch, but that Poch is Man United's first choice. Man United's top choice remains Poch. And yeah, as I said, my comparison I had earlier was it's basically getting it's like having the Mayweather Pacquiao fight when it happened. It was a few years too late. It was still all right, but it could have been better. And that's what I think it would be if Poch came in. Jonathan, I was saying you did a video on United's 3 preferred candidates, but what we didn't know is that there was a priority. If there was, you're coming in with huge comments today. If Poch was available when Ollie left, he would have got the job, I'm sure. Yeah, that's being reported everywhere today. But United didn't feel that we could get Poch from PSG because he had signed that 1-year extension. We didn't think that he would leave remember that? All that was kicking off, that we didn't leave mid-season. And we were all coming out doing videos. And I remember doing a video saying, look, if United want Poch, flex. You go and pay that money and bring Poch in because he definitely come. The player thing was not really relevant. Someone has just asked the players who they want and leaked it to create a mini storm in the media. All right, cool. I understand what you're saying there, Jonathan. And maybe you're correct. Maybe I'm going slight hyperbole here with my video today. I personally would. I don't think so. I would disagree. I've explained my reasoning behind that, but I completely understand your point of view there. Savio, you're saying, I thought if someone is appointed for a consultancy role, he comes up with something that is best for the club. That's the whole idea of a consultant, Savio. As I said, if you're crap at doing something in life, you would get a consultant to help you with that. And they would give you advice and experience that they've had that would make you better in whatever it is you want to become better at. That's why you would hire your consultant to do that, right? So if Manchester United brought Rangnick in that's part of his contract. So if United now all of a sudden sack Rangnick, you have to pay him out on that one. Go down here. Loads of comments flying in, by the way, today. What I will say now before I quickly move on, if you would please consider, ladies and gents, I don't know why, but it seems like people don't really like the videos on United People's TV. I'm sure you like them, but you don't like them. And as far as YouTube is concerned, they appreciate the likes. So can you please drop a like on the video? It does help the video get shared around, bring more United fans in here. And what I would say one more time as well, I'm really working hard now to try and build up the Instagram account. I've been pretty naff on Instagram for a long, long time, but I've brought in a graphic designer and I'm working on a day-to-day basis now to try and build up the Instagram account. So if you would please There's a link in the description on Facebook and on YouTube. Just go over there and follow the page because there's going to be daily content on there. I'm going to start doing some more live videos on Instagram as well. Some more interactive, more, I suppose, stripped back videos, more informal type videos. And I'll be doing that on there. And as always, if you want to come on and ask me a question at the end of the show, I will leave. Oh, look at that. The blokes have stopped cutting the concrete. Isn't that nice? I can hear myself think. There's a link in the description for the studio. So if you wanted to come on at the end of the stream, you wanted to ask me a question, you are free to do so. What else have we got to talk about? Oh, yeah, of course. We've got to talk about this. This was the big talking point yesterday. This still is a major talking point. All right. And it should be one of the most important talking points for Manchester United fans. And I said this, right? This was my tweet yesterday. I said it's time for a change. And when you look at this list, my word, look at that list, right? Manchester United's club captains of the Premier League era, starting off with Brian Robson, one of the greatest captains that we'll ever have. He was captain there for 2 years. Steve Bruce came in. We won our first Premier League title there. 1994. 2 more years. Eric Cantona, Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Nemanja Vidic, Wayne Rooney. My word. Then we go down. Michael Carrick for a year. Antonio Valencia. Ashley Young. Harry Maguire. How's that for a drop-off, ladies and gents? How is that for a drop-off? To go from Roy Keane, Vidic, and Rooney to Ashley Young and Harry Maguire. It really sort of embodies the drop-off that Manchester United have had, isn't it? I think so. Anyway, it's incredible. And as I said, I did my video it was more of an opinion piece, but it was a grounded opinion piece. I'm not really somebody who tries to, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not somebody who likes to go over the top too often. I like to try and keep my opinion as grounded as possible. I call myself the moderate United fan, which I think reflects quite a lot of United fan base. And that's why I did that video on Maguire yesterday. It was literally titled, "We Need to Talk About Maguire." I think we need to talk about Maguire. It's reached that point now where you can't just ignore the elephant in the room. And that's Harry Maguire as captain. Who do you want as captain? I think we asked this yesterday. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Matt, there's a comment there came out from Matt saying, "Speaking of Vidic, your haircut is exactly like me." I was sitting there getting ready to do the show and I was like, I really look like Vidic. I was like, I'm not as dangerous as Vidic. Jeez, absolutely not. But yeah, it's very Vidic. I like short haircuts. I'm lazy, right? That's why I have short haircuts. I don't have to do anything with that. I get out of bed and I go, "Oh yeah, sweet, my hair's done." And anybody who's bald, like my man Hassan down there you go. It's even easier. But hopefully I hold on to this. Right, but look, who do you want as captain, eh? I'm going to be doing a separate video on this, I think, at some point soon, because it's such an important conversation that we need to get. In the same way that we need to get our next managerial appointment, right? We've got to get a good captain, man. The captain reflects the team. As what I said in my video yesterday. That's why Harry Maguire right now is the perfect captain for Manchester United. Confused, lack of confidence, doesn't really know what he's doing. Massively embodies Manchester United right now, doesn't it? There's a couple of comments that flew in there that caught my opinion. Bruno says Kunal. Who would go down there? Questtech, you're saying De Gea. Josh, you're saying Bruno. Surendran, you're saying Bruno. Stubacker, Bruno. Bruno. Ralph Mutt's called. What we got? Ashley. Remember Ashley Young as captain? He jumped off. Oh, he did jump off ship. So did Vidic, by the way. Remember when Vidic left mid-season? Was it mid-season? He agreed a deal mid-season. Never sort of forgave him for that. De Gea for captain, says Keeley. Bruno or De Gea? And look, I think I haven't really made my opinion clear on that, but I think there's only one candidate, and I think that's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes absolutely should be Manchester United's captain. I see a lot of Rooney's attitude in Bruno. Sort of like, I remember his defensive tackle that he made against Burnley the other day when he tracked back with Diogo Dalot, I think it was, from the corner. Bruno, I call him the king of chaos, right? When Bruno's brilliant, Bruno's great. When he's just running around like a bit of a headless chicken, he's a little bit chaotic. So we'd have to rein that in a little bit. But in terms of the attitude of our players, man, if we had 11 Brunos, we would not be in this position. It's simply as if it's not as simple as that. Of course, it's not. It's far more nuanced than that. But the yeah, if all of our players had the same approach and attitude as Bruno Fernandes, we wouldn't be in this sort of pickle. And that's for sure. Alex King, you're saying Fred the Red could do a better job than Maguire. He probably could, actually. Scott has to be next captain, says Jason. I wouldn't agree on that. I think Scott McTominay, I love watching McTominay because he falls into the Bruno Fernandes attitude category, and it makes it easy for me to appreciate him, and probably makes it easier for me to brush over his weaknesses and brush over his flaws because I can see he gives everything. It's like Phil Neville was a bang average footballer, but he was a bang average footballer who stayed at United for a long, long time under the greatest manager there's ever been. Why is that? Because he literally gave 100% week in, week out. And that's the reason he stuck around. That's the reason why Gary Neville became our captain. Gary Neville was never the most incredibly talented footballer, and he'd admit that if I was to interview him right now. But what he did have, he made the most of. He maximized his own talent and his potential simply by hard work. And that's probably why I give McTominay more leeway than most, because that's something that I really have an affinity with when it comes to United players. And that's why I would definitely choose Bruno as my next captain. James Jennings here. That I don't know where this comes from. I'm presuming this comes from other fans, surely, right? Saying that Bruno's a stat merchant. If there's any United fan that genuinely thinks that, like, you don't deserve to be a United fan. A bit harsh, a little bit harsh, no. But Bruno literally came into our club in January. Was it January 2020? I think it was. Dragged us out of the mud. We were literally all in the mud, and one by one, he's there, like, hands out, up you come. Come on, lads, shake it off. And that's why I always compared Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. That was what we always expected and hoped Paul Pogba to do. But Paul Pogba was never that player. Bruno was the man that was able to drag the club out of the mud. I always felt Pogba was the player that was going to be able to take us up higher. He was never the player to drag us out of the mud, but when we were out of the mud, he was able to make us better. I think his ceiling is higher than Bruno Fernandes's, but in terms of affecting and influencing others to do it, Bruno is far better at that. And again, that's another reason why Bruno Fernandes would be a fantastic captain, is just the influence. You can't put in a crap non-committed performance. Well, you can actually. Tons of these United players do. But the idea of people just letting the game pass them by when Bruno Fernandes is captain, I don't think that would happen. Kieran here, he's saying it was Ten Hag last week. Look, man, trust me, this is not me swinging between stories and swinging and going clickbait and saying this one week and that another week, but this felt different today. As I said, from having reported on this for a long, long time, United anyway, there come certain days and certain occasions and certain reports when they all come out at once. It's when as I said, there's no smoke without fire. And clearly United's, there's some sort of source at United that's leaking to the press about the players wanting Poch, about the club wanting Poch. Now, I don't know whether that's diversion tactic, and I really hope it is diversion tactic more than anything, right? Because I think we can all see that Ten Hag would be the progressive choice. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it in the video that I'm going to do later today. I think Poch would be maybe the safer choice. But United don't really need a safety net right now. United need a rocket. We need something to take us forward. Oh, my God. I haven't even put my phone on silent. What an abysmal person I am today. Battery not charging, roadworks outside, phones going off. Jeez. Sometimes I call myself professional, but that's not today. Nick, you're saying Ten Hag absolutely smashes Champions League opponents with Klaassen, Blind, Haller, and Tadic, all considered Premier League rejects. He's also amazing with youth players. Basically, any reason that you could say Pochettino is a good manager, you can go to Ten Hag and say, yeah, here we go. Here's your counter argument. A lot of similarities. The one where Poch is obviously going to have the trump card is his Premier League experience, and also his experience of working inside a club where the club isn't really working with him. But again, they're not two reasons why I would choose Poch over Ten Hag. And I would explain that in the video I'm going to do later. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep waffling on. Matthew Tanner, can you do a video on why we can't score from set corners, please? Set Pete, I mean, I'm not sure you need a video for that. We're just crap at them. I can't put my finger on it. The thing that is hilarious about, well, it's not hilarious, but the thing that blows my mind about how bad we are at corners and set pieces is it's the simplest thing in football. It's like whenever teams played Barcelona back in the day, they couldn't get near him on the pitch, but they knew as soon as you swing a corner in, you got a chance. Just get your head on it. It's the simplest thing in the world. One kick, one header. That's all you've got to do. Sunday league stuff. And I for the life of me, I do not know why. Something we did a little bit different against Burnley. We've had a lot of short corners, which I actually think kind of suits us more. We've got a lot of players comfortable with the ball at their feet. I wouldn't be too against us continuing that. Paul, you're saying I think De Gea is captain for the defense reasons. And Emmanuel saying, Sam, what do you think Ralf should do about the Ronaldo situation? I don't think the Ronaldo situation, in my opinion, is a situation. Ronaldo's going through a bit of a rough patch. Stop going off phone. Ronaldo's going through a bit of a rough patch. It is what it is. Everybody goes through rough patches. This is just when Ronaldo goes through one, it's like the end of the world. But when you like those two, when he came off the bench against Burnley, especially that one that Elanga flew in across, great run from Ronaldo, free header, planted feet, got his header over the bar. You back Ronaldo all day. It's like the Villarreal one. As soon as Shaw swung that cross in, you're like, Ronaldo's going to get on the end of that. Boom, Ronaldo got on the end of it. Winner. Let's go down here. Jasper saying, why should the players choose the manager? They are also brought into play for the club, as so does the manager, is to push the club to a better place. Yeah, you're right there, and I completely agree with you. Nick, yeah, it's been over a year. The last time we scored a corner, Odi Nagalo was a Manchester United player. I saw that stat. Don't know whether it's true, but if it is true, that's quite humiliating. That's quite humiliating. Who we got down here? We've got Ashish, I think it is, waiting in the comments. Let me see if I can bring you in here. Are you there, sir? Are you there? 3, 2, 1. He's not there. False alarm, people. False alarm. Right. Should Ghana be... Look, right, I'll give it a few minutes now. Anybody who's got a question or a comment, fire it into the comments, and I'll try and read your opinion out. And as I said, for anybody who's watching that isn't subscribed to United People's TV on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button. I've switched the comments to members... No, not members only. To subscribers only, as an intention of giving the community more opportunity to have their voices heard. As I said, this is what I want to do here on the channel. I want to try and make it as much of a community as possible, and that's why I'm limiting non-subscribers from commenting. It's not my way of cutting you out. It's my way of telling you, come in the front door, open the door, subscribe to United People's TV, and drop a like on the video. And what you're saying here, sir, is this another dad joke? You know what would be absolutely ironic? The players want Poch. He comes in and then proceeds to get rid of the players who wanted him in the first place. Guarantee that would happen. But something that's said in quite a few of the articles is senior players. So we're probably talking about, I mean, who are the senior players at United now? Was it like De Gea, Luke Shaw? Because by senior, I presume they mean players that have been at the club for a while. Who else, top of my head? Maguire wouldn't fall into that. You could put Ronaldo there. Rashford, of course. I don't know what they mean by senior. I don't want to mean that literally the oldest players or the players who have been at Manchester United the longest. And Peter, you got a comment there saying, I don't think the board trusts Ralf because of his honesty. Well, I honestly think you're right there as well. This situation clearly, I can see it. I can see it. So I've got like tunnel vision on this whole managerial situation, what we want, what would suit Manchester United, X, Y, Z. I don't think the club does. I think we're torn between Poch and we're torn between Ten Hag. And the club, I think, is going to get... I fear that the club is just going to get sucked into their old thinking and thinking, right, well, if Poch was going to come in there and be the right man, then he's the right man now. It's not the case, in my opinion. And I will do a video on that. I'm going to record it in a minute anyway. I'll wrap it up now. I'll say anybody... So I apologize for not bringing anybody in today. Little bit of a chaos stream, but the battery's charging. All right, we got past that dramatic moment. All right, but thank you everyone for joining in today. Some of you may feel that I was going over the top with what I was saying there about Poch and the squad. Cool, that's fair enough. You can have your opinion. I think you're wrong. No, as I said, I've justified, I think, my reasoning behind it. I'm going to do a video later today on Poch as well and Ten Hag and why I truly feel that United cannot make this mistake, even if I think Poch would be a good manager. But anybody, thank you for everybody, anybody, all of you. Thank you very much for joining in today. Sorry if I got a bit excited. It's because I got a haircut. It's because I look like Nemanja. I'm not even wearing the same colours as well. I am wearing the same colours as him. Yeah, that's pretty much the only similarity I've got to Nemanja Matic. I'm an absolute pussy compared to him. Everybody is, to be fair. But look, thank you all for joining in. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Check out the video later. And if you haven't seen it, watch the video I did on Maguire yesterday. I think it's quite important that we all had that conversation. All right? Ciao.